Warning: the following content contains coarse language. Viewer discretion is advised. There are a lot of shitty films out there, and I strongly feel that remakes should be made solely for the purpose of correcting their mistakes and making the movies presentable. Aaron Perla here, aka The Film Freak, and I thought I'd take the time to talk to you all about remakes. Why am I on the subject of remakes? Because I hate them! I always have, and I always will. You know the old saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it? Well, Hollywood doesn't seem to, because over the years we've been treated to many movie remakes, but I find they're happening more and more frequently. So a movie doesn't follow the original subject material. Who cares? All the best films came out decades ago. Who cares? They're movies. If they're good, they're fucking good. And if they're classics, they'll forever be classics. I seriously don't get why Hollywood likes remaking movies, but with all the sequels, spin-offs, and reboots now out there, it's gotten to the point that nothing is original anymore. Now don't get me wrong, not all remakes are terrible. There are some I've seen that are pretty good. Depending on who the director is, I find, what movie they're reimagining, and who they're casting as the lead, that's where the decent remakes are. In fact, some of my favorite movie directors have all tried their hands at them. Though some were panned by critics, most were praised by fans, and some have even led to Oscar nominations and wins. But for the most part, remakes are nothing more than pointless cash-grabbing pieces of shit, and that's one reason why I hate them. Another reason is that there can be multiple adaptations. Yeah, remakes are made more than one time. Now I understand that some movies are too good to be produced more than once, but fuck man, how many times can you retell a story? Three productions I know off the top of my head that have numerous remakes are A Star is Born, Little Women, and A Christmas Carol. Currently there are 4 versions of A Star is Born, the first being the 1937 original starring Janet Gaynor. Then it followed with the 1954 adaptation with Judy Garland. Then came the 1976 version with Barbra Streisand, and finally the 4th and latest one being the 2018 version with Lady Gaga. Louisa May Alcott's Little Women currently has 6 versions. 2 of them were silent films and released a year apart from each other, 1917 and 1918, and the other 4 were released in 1933, 1949, 1994, and 2019. And as for A Christmas Carol, get this, there's 135 different versions. God damn! I'm not going to name each one because half of them are TV and stage productions, but the most notable ones movie-wise are the 1951 adaptation called Scrooge, George C. Scott's version in 1984, the Muppets' version in 1992, and Disney's version with Jim Carrey in 2009. And speaking of Disney, they're another reason why I hate remakes. Disney has become notorious for turning their beloved animated movies into cash-grabbing live-action remakes. This all started back in the 90s with The Jungle Book and 101 Dalmatians, but since 2010, they've been in full swing, and each one, in my opinion, doesn't live up to the originals we all grew up with. One in particular that really gets under my skin is The Lion King. The original 1994 version is one of my all-time favorite Disney movies, so when it was announced that a live-action film was in the works, I wondered how it would look. Then I saw it, and not only was I disappointed, but it scared the hell out of me too. All the characters looked cool in a real-life setting, but without humans thrown in the mix, I don't want to see animals talking in a live-action movie. I'm sorry, but it's freaky. But what pissed me off the most was the flow of the story. I found scenes like Mufasa's death, for instance, were rushed, and scenes like the piece of Simba's mane making its way to Rafiki's tree, or Simba's return to Pride Rock, just seemed to drag on. In all honesty, if I want to see The Lion King as a live-action production, I'll go with the Broadway musical. Make that into a movie. Now let's talk about foreign films. I don't watch very many of them because I'll just watch Hollywood's versions of them instead. And that's one last reason why I hate remakes. I don't know if it's because a lot of foreign films have subtitles and we have to read them, or the fact that we don't understand their cultural cues, but Hollywood also has a tendency to make English versions of foreign films, and you know what? This also pisses me off, because not only do they have to dumb them down for North American viewers, but some movies you think are totally original actually aren't. The storylines come from foreign films. And unless you do your research and look up films like I do, you're not going to know that. For example, did you know that The Ring and The Grudge are remakes of Japanese films called Ringu and Ju-on? For the longest time, I didn't. Or how about The Upside? You know, that Kevin Hart movie where he's looking after Bryan Cranston in a wheelchair? That's a remake of a French film called The Untouchables. Even classic flicks like 3 Men and a Baby, Scent of a Woman, The Birdcage, and True Lies are all remakes of foreign films. What the fuck, Hollywood? But you want to know something else? Some Hollywood productions are also remade in other countries. The same excuse probably goes for them over there, but it's messed up if you think about it. Now, what I'm about to tell you is my personal opinion. If you want to remake a movie, remake a bad movie. Okay? But don't remake a movie so bad that it's good, like Tommy Wiseau's The Room. There are a lot of shitty films out there, and I strongly feel that remakes should be made solely for the purpose of correcting their mistakes and making the movies presentable, not because you want to milk the cash cow. Anyway, that's enough for me. I hope you all found it interesting, and hope my rambling didn't annoy you too much. Like, comment, and subscribe if you're digging my content. Every bit of support helps. And follow me on Instagram at FilmFreakProd for all the latest posts and updates. Thank you so much again for watching, and stay tuned for the next video.